guys, FrOzenSwipe here, and I have another Black Ops gameplay for you. More specifically, it's going to be a game of domination on Berlin Wall. Funnily enough, I actually managed to get the exact same score as this on the exact same map, same game type with pretty much the same setup in a previous video. Yeah, I got that a while ago, but I might link that to you in the description so you can see that, you know, what I'm talking about. Yeah, I hope you like that new intro there. I managed to download a template off of YouTube, and I customized it a little bit, fiddled around with it, and that's pretty much what I came up with. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed. I hope you leave a little bit of feedback on that, whether you liked it or not, or whether you prefer the old one or whatever. But yeah, so get back to me on that. But the main topic I want to get into in this commentary, as you can quite clearly see from the title, is what would you do in a zombie apocalypse? And the reason that I got thinking about this is because a couple of days ago I was watching I Am Legend, which is funny because, I know loads of people, you guys have seen it like years ago, but for some reason I never got around to seeing it in cinema, despite the fact that everyone said it was amazing. I kept meaning to see it, but I just never got around to it for some reason. Yeah, I eventually saw it, and obviously great movie if you've seen it, and it got me thinking, what exactly would I do in a situation similar to that? And I'm not going to go exactly with the I Am Legend situation. Technically speaking, it's not a zombie apocalypse, because it's not reanimated corpses. It's a virus that just kind of makes everyone go batshit crazy, which is definitely something different. It's not exactly the same thing. What exactly would you guys do if you just woke up tomorrow and everyone went batshit crazy and started eating each other? Because I want to hear what you would do in this situation. I've thought through what I would feel would be, in my opinion, the most likely scenario, although technically speaking no sort of zombie apocalypse whatsoever would be the most likely scenario, but the most likely scenario for any sort of zombie apocalypse is pretty much what I've come up with. Roughly the same scenario as I Am Legend, some sort of virus. I wouldn't go with airborne just because, it would spread really quickly and loads of people would die, and that obviously wouldn't be fun. So I'm gonna just, I'm gonna go a little bit easier on you. I'm gonna say that it's only by contact that you can get this. You can only get it if you come into contact with someone who is infected. And what the virus does is that it will degrade your neurons to the point where, the only mental capability you have is just raw survival instinct. That's all you've got going for you. You have no logic, no empathy, no reason. Just your main goal, your only goal is to survive. That's what, that's what the infected are thinking. Also, in terms of survivors, actually I should say this, I'd say maybe, 25-30% immune, and then, say 70% of the population can get infected and, turn into flesh-eating monsters. But more specifically, these flesh-eating monsters are probably going to have, like in I Am Legend, if you look at the scene where he's examining the infected woman, they're probably going to have an increased heart rate and respiratory system, which means that, they'll be able to get energy from food a lot quicker than we can. Which means that, they'll be a lot faster, they'll be a lot stronger. It's not going to be your classic horror movie, slow-moving zombie type thing. These guys are going to be crazy. They're going to be, like, in a 1v1 hand-to-hand combat situation, you're probably going to lose out, so not really the best idea to take them on head first. So if they get close to you, they're probably going to kill you. But there are a couple of downsides to that, a couple of downfalls on the infected's point of view, because what's going to happen is that they're going to use up their food a lot quicker than a normal person would. Like, it would take a normal person, say, 3 to 4 weeks to starve to death, whereas because they use up food so quickly, it would probably only take a week and a half without food for them to die of starvation. Eventually the problem is going to solve itself, and they'll probably also revert to cannibalism in order to get food as well, because, they don't have any sort of empathy or, reason or logic. They just want to survive, and they'll do that by any means necessary. So, odds are the problem will eventually solve itself in, say, maybe, 2 months or so, because they are going to find some sort of food. It's not a case where all the zombies are going to die out because there's absolutely no food running around. Obviously they'll find animals, they'll find, they'll snack on some other survivors or something like that eventually. Maybe after 2-3 months the problem will probably solve itself. So your goal is to try and survive for those 2-3 months by attracting as little attention to yourself as possible. Now, the other thing you can do is that you can kill these zombies. You can kill them pretty much the same way you'd kill a normal person. You can bludgeon them to death, you can stab them, they can bleed out. They probably bleed out twice as quickly, actually, now that you think about it, because they'll have an increased heart rate, so there'll be more blood pumping through their arteries. So if you cut an artery or something, they'll bleed out like twice as quick as a normal person would. So it would be pretty easy to kill a zombie by making them bleed out. So knives could be useful, actually. as well as firearms. Obviously, they're going to be a lot more vicious, they're going to be a lot more determined to kill you, so bear that in mind. And yeah, that's pretty much the scenario. I think that's all I can really think of there. So your goal is to try to survive, so I want to see what you guys come up with. How do you guys plan to survive the zombie apocalypse? So first thing I'm going to do is that, you know, I'm going to pretty much raid my cupboards, my fridge, for as much food as I can. You know, grab a backpack or a suit. Yeah, probably a backpack full of food, just because I'll need to, you know, travel around. Oh, the other thing I forgot to mention about the zombies, actually, before I get into what exactly my game plan is, you know the way in I Am Legends where they pretty much can't go out into the sun or else they'll like burst into flames and like die instantly. Can't really see that happening. You know, I mean, okay, let's say for example the virus uses up all the pigment in their skin. The worst thing that's going to happen if they go into the sun is they'll get a nasty sunburn, you know. And if they're really hungry and they feel that getting a sunburn is worth getting their next meal, they see you, they'll probably go for you. They'll be more than happy to run out in the sun to get their next meal. So, you know, it's not a case like in I Am Legend where your man can just saunter around in the sunlight and he's grand. Definitely not that case. So you can't just like wander around in the sunlight. So you're probably just gonna want to stay in the one position the whole time. But you know, they won't be wandering around as much during the day. They'd probably just like stick to the shade because, you know, no one likes getting sunburnt, and you know, if they're not getting sunburnt for a good cause, then they're not going to go out into the sun. I don't know, maybe they could get skin cancer or something and die, but it's hardly going to be instantaneous like you see in I Am Legend. So yeah, back to my game plan. I'm going to get like a backpack because I'm going to be walking around quite a bit. So I mean, a suitcase or something like that would just slow me down. And you know, I already said these are fast movers, so I mean, you want to be as agile as possible. I'd probably bring with me some sort of melee weapon. I'd probably bring a few knives from the kitchen or something. You know, just a butcher knife, you know, sharp blades. You know yourself, the kind of knives you'd have hanging around your kitchen that could be quite useful. Because as I said, you know, if you stab them or if you cut them, they'll bleed out quite quickly, which is obviously very useful. I'd probably bring like a golf club or something as well, just so I could bludgeon them. You know, some sort of melee weapon like that, because that's pretty much all I have. And I wouldn't have a gun or anything. You wouldn't really be able to get guns in Ireland. You know, the only people who have guns would be the armed forces and a few farmers in the country. They might have like shotguns or something to, you know, keep foxes away from the chickens or something like that. But really, you know, in Dublin, there's no real easy place to get any sort of guns whatsoever. Maybe you guys in America, you could just hang out in Walmart, because I know in some Walmarts they sell like AK-47s and shit. So I mean, you're sorted if you go there. I can't believe they sell guns in Walmart, but you know. We're not as fortunate. Guns are a very bad thing in Ireland. They're really hard to get. That's pretty much what I'm going to be taking with me, and then I'm going to, you know, I probably wouldn't have enough supplies to last that long, so I'd probably go, there's a garage like literally 5 minutes down the road from me, so I'd go there, I'd take whatever, you know, tins of beans or supplies like that I can get. Obviously balls of water, because, you know, you can never have enough water. And tinned beans are great because they don't go off. You know, tinned food in general, it takes a long time to go off. So you want to, you know, get as much of that into you as you can. What else would there be? That's pretty much all I'd take with me. And then I'm just going to go straight to the mint. For those of you who don't know, a mint is where they print money. And there's a mint, like literally just, I don't know, a 20-minute walk from here, from my house. Maybe only like a 10-minute run if I really need to. And the reason being is that, you know, there are armed guards there. I know that for a fact. So I mean, that'd be one of the few places where you could probably pick up weapons. And you know, I often see like convoys of you know, jeeps filled with Irish soldiers who are all armed with like AUGs and stuff like that. So there may very well be a few soldiers stationed there as well. It would probably be one of the easiest places for them to set up some sort of safe zone, because it's really secure. There are high walls everywhere, there are checkpoints, there are security cameras and everything like that. So if they see that, you know, you're not infected, that's probably, you know, they'll probably let you in. You'd be pretty safe there. Well, I would anyway. I don't know about you. I'm pretty sure not everyone has mints like down the road from them, but I'm lucky in that situation. So and even if it's abandoned, even if there aren't any you know, people there, I'll probably be able to find a way in and, you know, secure it from there. And I'd probably be able to find, you know, some sort of weapons lying around. Say for example the guards all got infected and they decided to wander off somewhere, because they won't really need them. You know, they wouldn't have the fine motor function to use the weapons anyway. So yeah, I think that's I've gone into black screen here. But that's my game plan. I'm gonna go straight, you know, get some supplies, get some, you know, primitive weapons, and then just run straight for the mint. That's my goal. Also, you know, I'll be able to line my line my pockets with money while I'm there. That would be great too. If I survive the zombie apocalypse, I'd be rich. So yeah, what's your game plan? Really put some thought into this. You know, I definitely wouldn't have thought of that if it weren't for me putting so much thought and effort into this scenario. So yeah, I want to see what you come up with. But anyway, this has been FrOzenSwipe. Hope you've enjoyed, and thanks for watching.